Unconscious habits can set you back in your personal and professional life, but they can be reprogrammed into positive behavioural traits that can set you up for success. Find out how with business coach Sophia Frommell and myself, Jeremy Lawrence, on today's edition of Inside AB. Sophia, welcome.
Hi, Jeremy.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You wrote an article in Arabian Business for us where you pointed out that according to a Harvard Review study, 45% of the actions that we take are a result of unconscious decision making, which is extraordinary. Can you tell us what this means, what we're talking about here?
It's amazing. It's an amazing study that actually shows that almost half of all the actions that we take every day are not decisions at all. We might think that we make a decision, but we don't. This is a reprogram. It's a program that we have and is running in the back of our head, and it's an action that we repeat without thinking. So when we wake up in the morning and we reach for that cup of coffee, it's not a conscious decision at all. It's something that has become a routine. It's a habit.
Right. And that could be a good habit like brushing your teeth, but it can also be a bad habit like checking your social media instead of doing something useful.
Absolutely. It can be anything like eating a cookie or, that repetitive chocolate that you eat every afternoon when you have your break.
Yeah.
It can be, smoking, for example. Or it can be a good habit like brushing your teeth, of course. Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
So how do these habits actually work? How do they form?
Okay, there is a pattern that is called the habit loop. So there are three elements to the habit. There is the cue, which is what gives us that initial urge to take an action. It's the routine, which is the action itself, and then there is the reward. Say, for example, you have the habit that every afternoon at 3 o'clock you take a break in the office and you walk away and you eat a chocolate. So the afternoon timing, the 3 o'clock, is the cue. Walking away and eating the chocolate is the routine. The reward is feeling good about, the chocolate. You're feeling nice, it makes you feel happy. And this is your habit. Now, if you repeat this habit a number of times, if you repeat this routine a number of times, it becomes a habit. And hence why many researchers say it takes 21 days to form or break a habit. So what happens is that once we repeat a pattern many, many times, our brain keeps looking at the reward, this happiness that we get at the end of the routine, and starts saying, well, this is a good thing, that makes you feel good. So it moves that pattern, that routine, from the frontal part of our brain where we make conscious decisions to a back part of our brain where everything becomes routine. In this back part of our brain, we have things like breathing. We don't have to think about breathing anymore. Our brain knows that this is a good thing, so it makes us do it automatically because it's a good thing.
Right.
It's the same thing with eating chocolate. The brain receives the reward as a good thing, puts it in the back of the brain, and it happens automatically. So a habit is formed.
Right. So how do we break the bad habits then, sort of hack this cycle and create new habits?
Right. So most people, when they look at a bad habit or a habit that doesn't serve them for any reason, they look at the action. So they say, I need to stop eating that chocolate, or I need to stop smoking, for example. We need to look at the whole loop of the habit. So we need to see what is the cue, what makes us do that action, and then try and replace the reward that we get with the different action. Say, for example, going back to smoking or to eating a chocolate in the afternoon. You might figure out that you're doing that every afternoon because you get to mix with your colleagues when you walk into the pantry and you eat that chocolate. Yeah. So what you really want is not the chocolate, but the social interaction with your colleagues. So then you replace that action, the eating of the chocolate, with another action. You can drink a juice, for example, instead, but still keep the reward that is a social element of the interaction.
Right. So look at the whole cycle of the loop.
So you look at the cycle, yes, you replace the action and you keep the reward, but you replace the action, the routine, with a more positive one. Again, you need to stick to it for at least 21 days. So it becomes such a routine that the brain will start doing it automatically.
Right. Now, you're a business coach. You work with a lot of top high-performing individuals.
Yes.
Can you tell us about some cases you've seen where you've identified bad habits and the effect it's had replacing them with more positive behavioural?
Right. So in the finance world, I guess that's a prime example. You see often traders who tend to stick in positions that don't serve them. So they repeat a routine of, sticking to positions that they don't work and retaining losses, skipping losses instead of cutting a position short, because they are trying to get a reward out of this. This is very bizarre because our brain plays games. It gives you, you know, that satisfaction that you get in the end of proving yourself right.
Yeah.
And this, you know, the endorphins and all the hormones that your brain is releasing, you get it whether you do an action correct or whether you do it wrong. So they stick to a trade because they want that confirmation of actually I did it.
Right.
And they don't cut on their losses. This is a bad habit. It can cost you millions on the real world. But recognizing why are you doing it, it's a way of actually realizing that you need to change that routine and cut your losses early on instead of, you know, persisting and holding on to something that doesn't serve you anymore.
Right. So you've saved millions of dollars for companies, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Well, I'm sure there's many, many things that we can all do in our daily lives to improve, even if it's not talking about multi-million-pound deals. All right, Sophia Frommell, thank you so much for that
Thank you for having me.
You've been watching Inside AB. We are live every weekday at 10 a.m. Please do comment, subscribe, share, and join us next time. Bye.